As the first solar tube skylight installer in Victoria, ScottSco Skylighting has nearly 30 years of experience and offers a variety of services including custom-made skylights, high-quality VLUX skylights and a variety of solar tube daylighting systems. The benefits of having the skylight in your home are many. They let natural light into your space, and with that light comes solar heat, improving your mood and even helping with performance in workplaces. Plus, heating your home with sunlight can save on heating costs during the chilly seasons. Cosmetic changes like skylights can add equity into your home, and, similar to adding mirrors on the walls, skylights can make a room feel bigger and more spacious. It's about time you enjoyed all these benefits plus more. So what are you waiting for? To get a free daylight assessment and installation quote, call our founder and owner Adrian BEGG on 0409 823 177 or visit our website at www.scottscoskylights.com.au. ScottSco Skylighting is proudly Geelong owned and operated. At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers of Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client, every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. As the first solar tube skylight installer in Victoria, ScottSco Skylighting has nearly 30 years of experience and offers a variety of services including custom-made skylights, high-quality VLUX skylights and a variety of solar tube daylighting systems. The benefits of having the skylight in your home are many. They let natural light into your space, and with that light comes solar heat, improving your mood and even helping with performance in workplaces. Plus, heating your home with sunlight can save on heating costs during the chilly seasons. Cosmetic changes like skylights can add equity into your home, and, similar to adding mirrors on the walls, skylights can make a room feel bigger and more spacious. It's about time you enjoyed all these benefits plus more. So what are you waiting for? To get a free daylight assessment and installation quote, call our founder and owner Adrian BEGG on 0409 823 177 or visit our website at www.scottscoskylights.com.au. ScottSco Skylighting is proudly Geelong owned and operated. At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers of Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client, every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. As the first solar tube skylight installer in Victoria, Scotsco Skylighting has nearly 30 years of experience and offers a variety of services including custom-made skylights, high-quality Velux skylights, and a variety of solar tube daylighting systems. The benefits of having the skylight in your home are many. They let natural light into your space, and with that light comes solar heat, improving your mood and even helping with performance in workplaces. Plus, heating your home with sunlight can save on heating costs during the chilly seasons. Cosmetic changes like skylights can add equity into your home, and, similar to adding mirrors on the walls, skylights can make a room feel bigger and more spacious. It's about time you enjoyed all these benefits plus more. So what are you waiting for? To get a free daylight assessment and installation quote, call our founder and owner Adrian Begg on 0409 823 177 or visit our website at www.scotscoskylights.com.au. Scotsco Skylighting is proudly Geelong owned and operated. Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be tuning into this 100th episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is our big 100th episode and it's also our season finale. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and next to me in a very unusual setting here at Corio Soccer Club at Hume Reserve, Steve Curtin. Steve, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. It's good to be this close together. We haven't been side by side for a while, at least on the Geelong show. So, yeah, congratulations on 100 shows as well to you. It's a big achievement. And also, we'll get a big round of applause. 12 years wedding anniversary over the weekend as well.
We'll talk about that, but we've also got a live studio audience. So thank you to everyone that's come in tonight and to everyone tuning in. And speaking of wedding anniversaries, I must, before we go any further, mention my beautiful wife, Maria. Yes, it was our 12th wedding anniversary yesterday. And now with the soccer season, having finished a couple of weeks ago, She's got me all to myself, and she's been absolutely fantastic this entire winter, Steve, just like your better half. Friday nights watching in the NPL locked up in my office at home. Saturdays I'm usually out and about at the suburban grounds around Geelong. Come Saturday night, when everyone's got a social life, I'm usually writing articles for the Geelong Advertiser, and then following morning it's coaching junior soccer. So she's really had to sort of live without me. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Absolutely.
And all I can say is, God's sake, when is the soccer season going to come back? Fair income, like, I've had enough of it. I can't wait for the soccer season to start.
So no withdrawal symptoms at
Oh,
all, mate?
no, definitely withdrawal symptoms from soccer. That's for sure. But, mate, we're going to tonight pay homage to what a great year 2022 was. We've got some unbelievable guests. Tell us, who are some of those guests that are going to be coming on the show tonight?
Oh, we've got a multitude of guests joining us tonight. We'll take it from the top, first of all, from our major sponsor, and he's already in the room, Tonchi, and he is in a moon boot, so we'll go easy on him.
And he's coming off the substitutes bench of a late replacement for Robert Coulis, who was probably a bit nervous getting in front of the cameras.
But this man was not nervous at all in front of the cameras. Mitch Falzon from our major sponsor, and a big thank you to Barry Plant Geelong for sponsoring not only tonight's show, but a whole sequence of shows recently. But not only Mitch, after that, we've got Mike McKINSTRY, chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, and we've had Mike's company on the show, and it's actually good to meet him in person for the first time tonight. He's in the room already.
How good is that, actually meeting people in person instead of doing, restream Zoom and all that kind of stuff? And he's the NPL coach, coach of the year in the NPL2, Stuart BEGG from North Geelong Warriors. He'll be joining us, and he'll be talking about elite men's football and what can we do to take the whole, level of Geelong football to another level. And likewise, we've got Ryan HORROCKS, coach of the Lara United senior women's team, who very recently got engaged, actually, and his lovely fiancée is here in the room. So, a lot of love around the Geelong Region Soccer Show tonight. He'll be talking about women's football. What a year that was this year, not only for Lara United, but for women's football in general. So we'll be talking about that and what needs to be done to get elite women's level to another level. But then after that, we've got some really big guests.
Yeah, the big guests just keep coming from the City of Great Geelong Councillor Lounge. We've got EDDY, KONTELJ and KYLIE GRZYBEK, and they're coming to join us ahead of the council meeting that's going to be held out at Lara tomorrow night as well.
Big news about that.
Bit happening in that space as well. And another man who's already in the room, it's the coach of the Geelong Rangers under-13 boys, and his name is Pete Bradley, and he's been here since about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Pete, I think, getting excited for this one, so that's good to know. And then after that, the president of the venue in which we're finding ourselves in tonight, the president of Corio Soccer Club, and what a great guest he is as well, Mario Gregorio, will be joining us, and that will be our last guest of the season, unless there's any late surprises, late changes to the lineup. Could be. Now
we need to mention a couple of very, very, very important people. Number one ticket holder for the Geelong Region Soccer Show, Santino Mamone. He's pop into the camera very quickly and just wave to everyone back there. He's just going to pop in very, very quickly, of course, and he's got his Melbourne victory card there. So that's Santino. If you haven't seen him before, we've got Joe Giacomazzo as well. He's going to pop in a bit later on as well. He's a man that everyone in the Geelong football community knows. But these are really, really important organisations who have really supported us big time this year. Some sponsors and some of the football clubs or soccer clubs, however you want to call it, that have really supported us this year in no uncertain order. Elephant and Castle, Mario Gregorio, who's also here moonlighting as the president of Corio Soccer Club. We've got JH Bookkeeping, Julie Hill from Lara United,
Lara,
Master Summer League, the Geelong Country Championships via the Geelong Region Football Committee. We've got Manningham Cleaning and the Scottnitzer family, Geelong Galaxy United, Anytime Fitness and Rob Panetta, Echo Duct Mist Heating and Cooling, Curva Geelong, Surfside Waves, Stuart Grimley MP. Stuart Grimley is now, I think, onto his third year of supporting this show. So later in the year when it is the state elections, make sure you vote for Stuart, who's obviously there in Parliament to keep the bastards honest. But he's also a football man through and through, and he's a co-founder of the Armstrong United Football Club. Harcourts, North Geelong. Scope Australia, we've got members of the Scope team here. Can we hear a big cheer from the Scope family over in the corner? Big round of applause to Nick and Anita and the co. Bowen Soccer Club. We've also got Barry Plant at Geelong and Scots Go Skylight. So thank you very much to those. Now, we've got some breaking news, mate. Hot off the press. Listen to this, folks. Listen, this is Geelong, the future of the Geelong juniors, if you like, or football. Today is
so fresh that I haven't actually heard this yet.
Fresh.
This is how
opening day of the National Country Championships,
yes.
the boys.
Up in Coffs Harbour.
Up in Coffs Harbour. Now, game one, Victoria Green, which is like the country team that has something like half a dozen Geelong representative players. They defeated New South Wales Country 3-1, and just moments ago, they defeated Northern Territory 8-0. So that's 2 wins from 2 games for the team that is coached by Geelong's own Joey Diddlitzer, and has got something like 6 or 7 Geelong boys playing in the under-14s. The under-15s, the Victorian Green under-15s, they played earlier today, and their second game is in progress as we speak. They also won their first game 5-1. So local youngsters doing very, very well on the national stage, and we had 3 local Geelong girls last week in the Girls' Championships: Marley Sikita, Hannah Skotnitzer and Leah Butler, all either current or former Geelong Galaxy girls. So well done to all of those. The future is indeed bright as far as the local soccer talent, Steve.
It sure is. And should we give a shout out to Alex, who's our producer tonight behind the desk here? Warm welcome to
Alex from OnFlow Media, doing a great job. If you lead live streaming next season, Alex from OnFlow Media is the man that you need to see. Now, we might take a very, very short break, and when we do return, we're going to have our very, very first guest, a man with a famous surname, and he's got a direct connection with Geelong Soccer. He's the representative from our major sponsor, Barry Plant Geelong. It's Mitch Falzon. That's right, Falzon. You remember that surname well. He'll be up very, very shortly, straight after this break. Folks, don't go away. It's episode 100 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers at Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate, and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client, every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Hello and welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, episode 100. And tonight, Tonji, as we've mentioned, we are brought to you by Barry Plant Geelong at this very special live show at Hume Reserve, the home of Corio Soccer Club. Now, Mitchell Falzon is going to be joining us. In fact, he's here in the hot seat next to us.
And feels very privileged. This is a 100th episode. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to Barry Plant and to everyone associated with Barry Plant for coming on board and sponsoring the latter part of the show. I really appreciate that. But before we move on to Barry Plant, let's talk about your surname, Falzon. Now, that's a very famous surname in local.
Take you long to talk about it.
No. But any relation to the great Lindsay?
Of course, he's my brother.
Oh, there you go. We've got Lindsay Falzon's brother here as well. So there you go. That's fantastic. We've got Lara United. We've got someone from Geelong Rangers as well. I think he was involved with Rangers, was he? Moons ago, and Surf Coast as well. So one of our sponsors, Anytime Fitness, Rob, is involved with Surf Coast.
If I can jump in with the next next question. Now, Mitch, if you know him, he was a very good goalkeeper in his day. Probably still is, I'm sure, if he wasn't wearing the moon boot.
Yeah.
Is there any parallels that you can draw between goalkeeping and the real estate business?
That's an
Just put you on the spot.
That's putting him on the spot. Goodness.
Composure. Composure is key. Composure is key.
Now, where did you play goalkeeper?
I started, I would think I was 12 or 13. I wanted to do nothing more than follow the brothers' footsteps.
Oh, there you
Become a
go.
soccer star. I think it was 2 months before I was putting goals. Wasn't much of a runner. And I stayed there for...
Hence the moon boot.
Yeah. I was been on
That's to avoid running.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an injury.
I was, and I did that for 4 years, yeah.
And that was at Surf Coast, was it?
Surf Coast, bit of GRFC, and mainly at Surf Coast.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, Robert Coolish, who's one of the principals there, has had a long and illustrious playing and involvement, and he's involved with Corio Soccer Club here as well. Interest rates always going up. How much has that had an effect on local real estate?
It probably had its biggest effect going back about 30 days now.
Mm-hmm.
I would compare it to when the C word came along, that being COVID. When COVID came along, a lot of people took a back seat, being buyers, and naturally, in the world of relativity, sellers do the same thing. They kind of sit back and watch the show and see what happens. And the same has happened with interest rates. I think people knew that it was inevitably going to happen. Interest rates are going to rise. So we saw a lot of buyers take a back seat, see what's going to happen, see what's going to happen with prices. Are they going to drop? Are they going to plummet like media does? They always want to portray bad media because that always helps out the market. Helps out views. And sellers did the same. So when it came to real estate, always comes back to supply and demand. Obviously, the demand pulled back, the supply did as well, so that kept things nice and balanced. I'm personally curious to see what's going to unfold because I'm already seeing the intelligent buyers out there who have a lot of experience with buying investment properties. I'm already meeting them at open for inspections, and they're saying things like, well, Mitch, we're just going to buy now because we don't know what's at the bottom of the market until it starts going up again. So we're seeing a lot of health return to the market. Even though stock levels are rising, the demand's coming back as well.
There you go.
And Barry Plant, obviously you're involved with sales and leasing and renting as well. Where are we at with the rental market in Geelong at the moment, do you think?
Still a massive demand, thank you. Still a massive demand for rentals. So I'm a tenant myself. I felt it more than anyone about 6 months ago when I was trying to find another property. Very grateful I had connections in the real estate industry, but I certainly feel it for my friends who are still messaging me all the time. I'm in the sales centre in the office, and they're messaging me all the time saying, I've applied for 3 or 4 properties, I can't get in, can you help me out, can I put you down as a reference? So if you've got an investment property at the moment and your home's not rented out, there's some big problems.
Okay. Now, if you've just tuned in, it is not the property guide with, it's not Saturday morning on the Bay FM show. They have a very good property show. This is actually the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and we're speaking with our major sponsor, Barry Plant, Geelong Real Estate. We've got something that we'd like to present to you and to everyone at the team. A little thank you token, there's a little soccer ball there, as an acknowledgement of our major sponsorship agreement or collaboration this year. So thank you very much for that.
The directors, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can be yours. Don't tell Coolsy anything yet. So
he'll claim the credit for it.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure. Mitch, thank you very much for being part of tonight's show, and we really appreciate it. And thank you very much for being a part of our very, very first guest on our 100th episode.
You're welcome. It was a privilege. Thank you so much.
Good on you. Steve, when we return after this short break, we're going to be speaking with the man right at the top of the football hierarchy here in Geelong, Mike McKINSTRY. He's the chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee. We can't wait to have a chat with Mike, a good old friend of ours. Don't go away, folks. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show. As the first solar tube skylight installer in Victoria, Scotsco Skylighting has nearly 30 years of experience and offers a variety of services including custom-made skylights, high-quality Velux skylights, and a variety of solar tube daylighting systems. The benefits of having the skylight in your home are many. They let natural light into your space, and with that light comes solar heat, improving your mood and even helping with performance in workplaces. Plus, heating your home with sunlight can save on heating costs during the chilly seasons. Cosmetic changes like skylights can add equity into your home, and similar to adding mirrors on the walls, skylights can make a room feel bigger and more spacious. It's about time you enjoyed all these benefits plus more. So what are you waiting for? To get a free daylight assessment and installation quote, call our founder and owner Adrian Begg on 0409 823 177 or visit our website at www.scotsgoskylights.com.au. Scotsgo Skylighting is proudly Geelong owned and operated.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We're coming live from the fantastic new facility at Corio Soccer Club, Hume Reserve. We've got a bit of a studio audience.
How's the crowd? It's just swelling every few minutes.
The word has got around. We are in the spiritual heartland of Geelong soccer here in Bell Park. And I've always wondered, you've got Corio Soccer Club located in Bell Park. Bell Park's located in Batesford. North Geelong's located in Lara. We just can't make up our minds.
Confusion there.
But one man who is not confused, who knows what we need to do here in as far as the football here in Geelong, is the chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, Mike McKINSTRY. Mike, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on our 100th episode. Welcome.
Thank you, and KONTELJ, Steve. Well done, 100 episodes. That's fantastic.
Yeah, now 4 years ago, who would have thought? But, one of the big supporters right from the outset was the Geelong Region Football Committee and a good section of the clubs as well. And we must acknowledge Football Victoria as well in the early stages. But 4 years later, we're really proud to have tackled some of the big issues. And some of the biggest issues, I suppose, at the moment is the G21 soccer strategy, the update of that. Let's talk about that, Mike. How's that all coming along? How's that progressing?
Yeah, well, look, some of the audience might know, but the last time the strategy was done was over 10 years ago, so it's way out of date. And, of course, the growth in the game locally since then has been enormous. And as always happens, infrastructure normally lags growth. No surprise, we're finding that's the same in football in Geelong. So we've had significant population growth, and we haven't had facility growth and all the other parts of the infrastructure for the game. And I often talk, I may have mentioned this in one of your previous shows, about what I would call the hardware and the software, and they're equally important. Pitches and stuff like that, facilities like this are fantastic. But all of that without good foundation for soccer in terms of coaching and standards, it's not enough. Facilities won't do it. There's no point in having great facilities and frankly playing rubbish football. So we've got to be putting as much time and energy into actually getting the best kids and getting the best coaching and starting at the youngest age. And it's great you mentioned Joey earlier and some of the work that he's doing. If we can just get a lot of investment in, and that's the idea of the strategy is really to take a bit of a snapshot of where are we at, but let's look 10 years ahead. Let's try and see where's the game going, what's the growth look like. And we've engaged an independent third party called Inside Edge. I think you guys might know them. They did the AFL Barwon strategy work, and they did work with cricket locally as well. And that way, I guess you get an up-to-date and independent view, not our view of GRFC or individual views, but somebody who's done an actual study on what the game could look like in 10 years' time. And then that way you've got an evidence base to go to government, whether it be state or local, and say, look, how do we try and really support the growth in the game? And we all know that it's not just about competition. We all know the community impact any sport has. I mean, just look at footy this weekend with the Geelong and the way that lifts the whole city. So it's all about health and well-being as well as the competitive part of it. And really the strategy is really trying to be the bedrock of that. And to have one that's a bit out of date, well, let's get it fixed. And we've had a lot of good cooperation with Football Victoria and within GRFC. And the strategy works on the way. It'll be finished by about February, when they've done all the study work, and they're getting actively involved directly with all the clubs as well.
Is that the whole strategy, or is that just the consulting phase of what?
It will be the consulting phase, and then we'll build on top of that. Then what are the implications of that? Because the consulting phase basically tells you what's potentially going to happen. What we then need to do as GRFC, we're getting the clubs' inputs, is, well, what does that mean? How are we going to actually start to plan the game for the future?
And then the next steps after that, I suppose, that will be something that we can use to implement, or certainly put our hand up and ask for those infrastructure upgrades that we need. Is something like that regional facility still on the table at this point in time as well? Something that we're working towards, or is the focus more club focused?
Well, certainly GRFC tends to be more club focused. We tend to look at more of the grassroots, and the regional facility. There's been a lot of airplay on that, as you would know. And the council in particular are putting a lot of energy in behind that. So we sort of let them get on with that. Our focus is to really support that, but equally to try and look at it at club level and really say, well, what are we doing about bringing all the clubs up to the same level? It's great to have some clubs doing really strong, and as you said earlier, North Geelong's traditionally been a very strong area. But if we want to really raise the quality of the game across the whole of the region, then the newer clubs have got to be brought up to speed as well. As I said, not only in terms of facilities, but also in terms of coaching. And that way we could go out every week, and you're not seeing kids getting thrashed 5-0 or 6-0. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
We've all got kids, and for them to feel as though they're doing well in any sport is really, really important. So we really want to lift all of the clubs, and that's where GRFC tries to provide that support at the club level.
It must be pretty kind of disappointing, I suppose, when we talk about clubs, particularly from the southern area. We have Armstrong United, newest club, and it was the first club created in the Armstrong Creek pocket. But the facilities they've had to put up, even though they're brand new, almost council facilities, the surface has been subpar. I know FC Leopold grew very, very quickly, and they didn't have clubrooms, but now they've got these fantastic clubrooms. And even Drysdale, they moved into a new facility, but the first 12 months, I think, were marred by really bad grass or whatever the case may be. So it seems to me that even in sort of the southern area where it's a marginal seat, and we're going to get a lot of infrastructure funding from various levels of government, it's still not being done properly. And is that one of the reasons for that? Maybe that we've had an outdated soccer strategy.
It might be a contributing factor, because it means that obviously if you don't, you get individual clubs, and every individual club should continue to try and lobby, advocate for their own club. They definitely should. What we try and do, however, is try and cooperate at the regional level. But yeah, you're right, Tonch. I mean, some of the investment, and this again is why if you've got a strategy, if you have like the population growth in Armstrong Creek, developers have got to be planning for, well, we're not only going to build houses here, what are we going to do about all the other community infrastructure, which includes sport? That's got to be part of the fundamental planning, and that's where the alliance with your council and other local authorities is really, really important.
Yeah, it would certainly be good to see some of the growth areas with rectangular pitches being built and constructed instead of football oval on repeat. Moving into some other parts of the game, where are we at with some other facets like the refereeing side of things? Are we where we want to be, or can we encourage some more people to take up getting involved in officiating?
No, it's a great question, Steve. And again, this is when I talk about that strategy being the hardware and the software. For me, the software includes not only coaches but refereeing. And at this point in time, we know that across the whole of Victoria, there's a shortage of referees. I think you know that. So we've got a lot more work to try and do to encourage referees to be part of the game. And the kind of things that we'll be looking at potentially flowing on, again, I keep coming back to the strategy because it's so important, is how do we try and support referees? The cost, as you know, to get qualified, how can we somehow fund that or help support that such that we make it easier for people to become referees and get good referees at a younger age as well? And that way you get the longevity out of them. We all know at the moment there's a lot of great referees out there, but remember, none of us are getting any younger. But a lot of the referees are getting to the point of saying, hey, that's just beyond me now. I'm just physically can't keep up. So we've got a bit of a gap right now, Steve. We've definitely got some work to do to recruit referees. And I think that's where I just want to shout out to all the clubs out there and for all the families that are involved in any time of sport, whether it be AFL or football. We've got to make sure that we've also got respect for the referees. And we've still got a lot of work to be done there. We know that sometimes the weekend is a way that people get a bit of, release some of their frustration in life or whatever, or their passion.
Absolutely.
But bagging the hell out of the referee, particularly I've seen it happen personally, and sometimes it's with relatively young kids. Who's going to volunteer to be a referee if that's, and you get paid a little bit, but it's not, you're not going to retire on referee's income, are you? So who's going to do that if you're going to get slammed all the time? So really it's a call out to all the local communities out there. Please, if you see someone overstepping the mark with the referee, tell them to pull their head in, whether it be a player or someone else on the sideline. And look, we've got Pete Bradley who's involved with the junior coaching. He'll come on a bit later on. And I've seen myself, like at junior level,
Sometimes with its parents or coaches or even players go a little bit too far. But very rarely do I actually see someone admitting their mistakes and going up to the referee and apologising, or just trying to make up for. They know they've stuffed up. But that sense of pride that seems to be so prevalent in our sport as opposed to other sports, they can't just, become a little bit, eat some humble pie and admit that they've gone a little bit over the top. And sometimes, particularly for these younger referees, just a little bit of an apology post-game, like, I'm yet to see a lot of that happen. But, we need more of that, I think, that's for sure. Let's talk about positive things. This year, the country championships.
Yeah.
After 3 attempts, Geelong finally managed to host it, and what a weekend that was. It was a major event. It was a major event for the Geelong community. The success of the country championships, did that maybe have a different effect, or a swaying effect on the local council and a lot of those organisations that traditionally weren't really pro football, pro soccer? Have things started to sort of come around a little bit because of that?
Yeah, I think it did, Tonshi. It was a really, really good event over that long weekend in June. And just to recap on some of the numbers, there was over 1,200 players. And also then that brought over 4,000 people, when you include their families and so on, to Geelong over that long weekend. That was a big boost to the local economy. I heard estimates somewhere in the region between 4 and 5 million came to the local economy.
Wow.
But more importantly, it also allowed Geelong to showcase what we can do here in terms of the facilities and the way it was organised. And Lisa Brooks and the organising team did a fantastic job. And we were very, very proud and very pleased with the way that went. And we got local government support as well. Christine Cousins came along, John Aaron came along, we got council came along. So, and I think that opened up a few eyes. And guys like John obviously are already very much into soccer, as indeed is Christine. But the fact that they were present there and presented at the end was a bit of an icing on the cake. And I think it did make people realise, when you saw the number of people that came and how people talked about it, they thought, geez, you guys know what you're doing here. So it came at a really good time, because we're all just coming out of COVID at the time, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, we can always have a negative spin on things with the Women's World Cup, that there's nothing being held in Geelong, no base camp or anything like that. But that then goes back to maybe the lack of international level facilities, but obviously, we've got various people and bodies working on that. So, we can always, we're good at doing that in the soccer industry, aren't we? Absolutely. Always putting a negative spin, but let's concentrate on that positive side of things. Another thing that did really well. Sorry, Steve, I've got all these positives in my mind. I want to talk about the positives.
While the iron's hot.
Yeah, is the coverage of the local press, and that was directly attributed to a man here who's involved in the Corio Soccer Club. We'll have him a bit later on, but obviously the Geelong Region Football Committee pushed that hard, and you managed to get Football Victoria on side as well. And we're talking about a lot of the extra media coverage, which both Steve and myself were involved in, either radio or print media. How's that come? How's that been received so far? Like the promotion of the sport in the mainstream.
Yeah, look, it's something that, as you said, Mario will talk about later. He's been great at pushing that, but if for various reasons it fell away, and other codes were being much more broadcast on the EDDY, and we've still got, clearly you can either do it virtually, or you can actually, a lot of people still actually do buy and read the paper. And we saw, it was interesting, particularly during the country championships, they got fantastic coverage.
Yeah.
Because we got great sponsorship, we actually invested some of that money back in. So we'd employed a professional photographer, so the photographs are really quality standard. That then it made it very easy for the EDDY to publish.
Yeah.
And then guys like yourself did a fantastic job in terms of the work you've helped support by writing the local stories. We still got to encourage the clubs to please shout out, because sometimes it goes on and doesn't get broadcast. And there could be a community angle, there could be a local kid angle, as well as winning. But all of the aspects of football and soccer are there, and getting it back in the EDDY, and that's one of the things that we will be looking at in the coming season. We've got a GRFC meeting coming up in next week in October. And we're looking at what the strategy will be going forward, because I think we need more coverage going forward now that we've come through COVID, and we really want to grow this game.
We're insatiable when it comes to getting media coverage for our sport, and I think we deserve it. Yeah, Steve.
We are. Well, that's exactly right, and we do. How are things with the committee at the moment? You've got face-to-face meetings back. That must be exciting. And is there anyone on the committee wanting to shout out or speak a bit more about at the moment?
Look, I think the first one we had, the first face-to-face meeting for 2 years was here, actually. In this room.
Good place to have it.
A good place to have it. And a good place to showcase. A great facility. I think face to face, you can't beat it. We've been doing virtual for a long time now, and we've all got much better at it. But you don't get the energy, and you don't get that. Chat on the side, how's it going? I mean, like Steve said, we've met virtually so long, but I don't know whether he was short, small, or whatever. So now he knows I'm small and he's tall. But you get that interaction and a little bit of a laugh as well, getting to know what else is going on.
Absolutely. And speaking of those meetings, what's coming up now in the next few months in the off-season, apart from obviously the G21, which seems to be the most pressing project at the moment, is anything else that the Geelong football community... and whilst we're at it, can I just say, back in the day when I used to work at Football Victoria, when September, October rocked around, clubs would switch off and you wouldn't hear from them. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the clubs until January, until Australia Day. It is awesome to see clubs planning ahead. They're already appointing coaches for next year. They're calling for expressions of interest for player numbers and this and that, people to join committees. It's almost like they're already working in advance and planning. And that, to me, just that alone shows such professionalism, even when people are volunteers and amateurs in a sense. But their attitude towards the clubs, towards the sport, just seems to be so much more professionalised. That's brilliant.
Yeah, look, and I'd like to think in some ways continued to meet in the way that we are in the off-season keeps people thinking ahead, keeps people planning. So one of the things that we'll be focusing in, as you said, Tonshi, on the strategy is a big part of what we'll be talking about in our next meeting. But, country championships, although we hosted this year in Geelong, there was a country championships already next year in Ballarat. So we've got to restart. What's the selection process? When are we going to be running all of that? So there's always stuff to be done in the off-season. And I just think we've got to try and keep some momentum in the game.
That's right. And speaking of off-season, one of Geelong's favourite competitions, that Geelong Community Cup, we're likely to see that back in force perhaps this summer. Is that something that's on the agenda at the moment with the committee?
Not definite yet, Steve, but you never know. It might come up at this coming meeting. Who knows?
Well, we'll be watching this space then to hear more about that. That's
absolutely. Mike, thank you once again for being a member or part of our 100th episode, but more importantly, coming out and telling the Geelong football community and the wider, because we go internationally even, we have got, dead set, we've got viewers overseas and everything. So just telling the football public of the latest that is happening behind the scenes, because a lot of the times people that aren't involved with the clubs themselves, they sort of just love to criticise, particularly social media keyboard warriors. They don't have any accountability, but when they get to see what is actually happening behind the scenes, you can only just take off your hat and thank everyone that has been involved in the football community this year.
And a big shout out to all the clubs. The last couple of years have been really 100%. Hard. And we're now seeing participation levels getting back up there. The latest numbers just released by FV show that people playing football in the region is now with over 5,500 people, which is great. That's bounced back from where it was. So we really want to continue to see that grow. Yeah, absolutely. Well, 2023 hopefully will be a bigger and better year than 2022 was. 2022 was a great year. Mike, on that note, thank you very much, and enjoy, the off-season to an extent. There is never an off-season. There's always planning ahead. No, absolutely. Good on you. That was Mike McKINSTRY, the chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee. When we return, we'll be talking about men's football and elite men's football at that. We'll be speaking with the NPL2 Coach of the Year, Stuart BEGG from North Geelong Warriors. And they actually had a big game against Melbourne Victory, a trial game yesterday. We'll find all about that yesterday. And what awaits that aspect of local football in 2023. Don't go away. We're going to take a very, very short break.
Even easier, yeah. How are you, Tommy?
Okay, we're back. There's all sorts of motion and all sorts of movement happening. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. That was a very short break. It caught us all off guard.
And our commercial breaks get shorter and shorter as the show goes on.
They do. And we've got a strict time frame here because we've got 7 guests to get through. And our next guest is, well, he's the NPL2 Coach of the Year. Our very own, Geelong's very own, Stuart BEGG, coach of the North Geelong Warriors. Stuart, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. First of all, congratulations in person on your award. But we talked about it that night. It's an acknowledgement, not just you personally, but you know, Geelong football and the fact that we're starting to produce not just quality players, quality coaches, quality administrators. It really sort of seems to sum up the vibrancy of the Geelong football community at the moment.
Yeah, look, we had a terrific year, and I think I said on that night that, like as much as it had my name on that trophy, that it was just a appreciation for the collaboration of what it took to get where we were this year, and you know, a lot of the people behind the scenes worked really hard at North Geelong, and yeah, it felt like the club was just in the right direction this year, and a lot of people were pulling in the same direction, and you know, to have that, because we didn't win the league in the last game of the year, but promotion was still good. I think that was just a nice little way to finish off the season.
And you went on that monster winning streak sort of midway through the season there, where you were just going great guns all the way, that steered you all the way to that promotion, which you secured a week out from the season. How confident was everyone there at that time? Because everyone was really firing on all cylinders there for a number of weeks that saw you guys rocket to the top and stay there right until the final day of the season.
It was sort of weird. It was like, I mean, me and Adrian knew we were playing quite well at the time, and it was like you know, the cliche of taking it week by week, and it's what we did. It's a big thing of what we did every single time. Our preparation didn't change from the first game to the last game, and yeah, the run was very good. Players were on a high, and you know, with confidence and momentum, results just happen. So those things that you know could be a 50-50 turns into a 60-40 your way, because you know, you have that momentum. So yeah, it was good for us, and I think that's the reason why we got promoted, was purely because of that run that we had.
Now, it's a very short pre-season, obviously, because the competition starts in early February, which is when we expect to sort of come back with the Geelong Region Soccer Show, by the way. But yesterday, as part of that short pre-season, a trial game against Melbourne Victory. A beautiful day, magnificent day down yesterday, and a good crowd down at Elco Park. And how did the team go against... What did Victory look like? And where's Santino Mamoon? He was there. That's his team. But how did Victory look like ahead of the A-League start, which is next week?
Yeah, I've watched a couple of their games that they've done pre-season against some NPL teams, and they moved the ball quite good. And they did the same thing in the weekend against us. I was more worried about nutrition of our players, considering the final or the AFL Grand Final night before. A lot of people out that night.
A few celebrations on Saturday night.
There was a particular player did think come home at 5 a.m. in the morning. So, but you know, that was good. They still played quite well. I was more happy about the way they went about it, and we had 2 sessions beforehand, and you know, Victory put on a very strong squad in the first half.
Yep.
And you know, they put us to the sword, and we defended very well. Up until the 25th minute, and then they sort of scored and, you know, took over from there. But the second half was much better. They put on a younger team, and we made some changes, and we had some younger kids come on ourselves, and they did a great job.
And some of your young players have been shining lights throughout the last home and away season too, so good to see that next generation that's on the cusp as well. But we've got a big weekend coming up with the Croatian tournament as well, so there's just no rest inside at the moment. What sort of squad do you think will be attending that particular competition, and how big is that going to be, also with Sydney United hosting and being in the Australia Cup final as well, the first NPL team to do so, if you don't mind as well?
Yeah, look, that's going to be... I've actually got tickets to go to that game. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
lucky you.
Yeah, so very happy going to be attending that. Yeah, it's going to be huge. You know, the Croatian community really get behind each other, and they really show the support regardless, whether it's North Geelong or, you know, Melbourne Knights. If they're all together and they're playing against a non-Croatian team, they really get behind each other. So that's going to be huge. The Croatian tournament itself will be quite big. A number of teams are attending. And because they haven't had a tournament for 2 years, or since 2019, I think a lot of people will get behind that. For us, we're not taking a full side. I think it's about probably a 3/4 side. A lot of kids coming up with us as well, 21s that have impressed and doing quite well, will be coming up. So there will be a mixed sort of side. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to be them with playing football, and they'll do everything they can on whatever game they play. So, yeah, looking forward to it, to be honest. But, yeah, you're right, it does not end.
Now, one of the cornerstones of the success of the Warriors this year was the fact that so many of the players were locally homegrown players, yeah? And obviously stepping up to that higher level, without a doubt, everyone knows there's going to need to be recruits come into the side and this and that. And moving up there, obviously there's that funnel, some very good under-21 players. But they won't be able to make it probably at that level, and they'll be looking for greener pastures, whether that means they'll be going to Geelong or to Corio or to Rangers or Bell Park. There were a few players that went there last year. What can we do, like the Geelong football community, to just bring everything up a level? As far as, let's talk about men's football, what is needed? Is it better coaching? Is it better facilities? Do we need more clubs playing in the NPL or more promotions? We saw Barwon go from State 5 to State 4, and your good friend Dale Harris was behind that. So it's great to see the clubs playing at a higher level all around the region. What is it, in your opinion, that we need to do to really produce even more elite players or elite level elite quality players?
I think you started off with the right idea. I think obviously facilities, coaches is pretty big. I think making sure you've got the right environments for people to develop playing football. In the case of NPL sides, it's an interesting question. I believe that maybe currently right now we probably only use the 2 NPL sides ourselves in Geelong. I think we've seen Geelong when they first got the NPL. I felt that they took a little bit to get going, and you can see they're now starting to get going, which is really good. But obviously, yeah, more people playing football and having the right coaches in place to develop those kids, and then having more teams gain promotion, and then being a funnel for the teams that's higher up. And I think sometimes that we competed against each other too much locally.
Yeah.
And I see it a lot with juniors, and I see it obviously with seniors, that, you know, if players want to play at another club that's higher, they should just let them go and try. Because we know, and we've seen it, and I've seen people that are playing in North Geelong now that haven't quite got into, say, an NPL side or a say, State 1 or State 2 side, and they've dropped back. They will come back. If they go down a level. And, you know, Anthony Badavats was one of them. Who
came to this very club, yeah. Corio, yep. Lockie McGrath's another one as well. Yep.
They went somewhere, didn't quite get into the team or didn't fit into the team they were in. They dropped back a level, got some senior experience, developed in a different way, then had a crack the next year, and look where they are now. Now, that should happen at every club, I feel. And sometimes we don't have that that fluid up and down movement, because I feel that, you know, it's that they're my player or they can't go there because you hold it against them. But it shouldn't be that case. We should all be moving the same path, which is up.
Yeah, certainly like that idea of keeping that rapport and relationship with the player, because in the future you might well and truly see them come back a better player in 1 or 2 years later. But moving from the Geelong scene, I suppose, to the Melbourne scene, you're up in the top tier of NPL Victoria next season. Very high standard. What's the preparation going to be looking like in terms of planning and personnel for that very tough assignment against some of those best clubs going around below A-League level in Australia?
Look, one of the things I do think about is when Avondale first came to us a couple of years ago when we played on Pitch 2.
Oh, the FA Cup, as it was known then. Yeah.
And I remember that was my first experience playing against probably a team that was at that standard, and, you know, it was, you know, pretty eye-opening for myself. We've come a long way since then, as a group and as a club, and moving forward into this league, I feel that, yes, we'll probably have to top up with certain individuals. We're losing some players ourselves, obviously, with visa players going back home, so we'll have to replace them. But I think the current crop we've got, which is really good, is individuals that have been playing in the NPL system, whether it be NPL 2, for a while, and they've become like the core group, and previous years when North Geelong's gone up, this is what I've been told because I wasn't at North Geelong when they went up last time, is that it's a different feel this year than what it was previous, that they've got that core group and they've got more experience, and the youngsters coming through should top us up as well.
Yeah.
So they just feel they're in a better position, and I honestly believe that the current squad we've got is just a few players shy for where we need to be, and it wouldn't take much. So I think a preparation will be obviously starting sooner because we start in February, and the pre-season will tell us, and we'll test ourselves pre-season. We're not going to play against teams that are going to be easy for us to beat. We're going to really, try against some really tough teams just to see where our weaknesses are as much as we can. And if we can, fix them early and know where we are really, then it will put us in an even better position when we start the season.
And moving into that as well, would your message be to the rest of the Geelong footballing community and maybe the broader Geelong sporting community as well to really get behind you, because it's a big and exciting year for the club, not only for the club I suppose, but for the greater Geelong region, because a lot of excitement surrounding this season.
Look, those who've come down to North Geelong to watch the Warriors play, I'm sure probably seen the last couple of years have seen that the support really does get behind us, and like the Croatian culture, not being Croatian myself obviously, they really do love their football, and being part of the crowd, some people have told me, I said, I'd love to come down here and watching us, and they're not Croatian, and just getting behind us I think is great for everyone. If we do well in the NPL 1, that's going to benefit everyone else in the Geelong community.
Now, we've got this video. I don't know if we can play this. Alex is going to try and play this video. Now, this is a footage sent to me today by someone of Polish extraction, actually, the Filipovich family. And the youngster, Jackson, who plays, I think, under 10 in the juniors, after the game, he wants his soccer ball signed. Now, there's all these Melbourne Victory players coming up the players' race. He's not interested in getting them to sign. He gets Nick Kosdra and then Ryan Opperman to sign it. And that kind of almost like cult-like love for the club, and what is being bred into some of the kids there, and as you say, not of Croatian extraction. That is just an amazing positive feeling, and that's the sort of idols that are being created in our very own backyard. If we can show that, this is just unbelievable. You got to watch this, and this is from yesterday at Alco Park. Is it coming along? There you go. How good is that? Like, you can see that, and that the Melbourne Victory player, he doesn't want a bar of him. He must be a Western United supporter, I think. But that is absolutely fantastic.
Who'd want an autograph off, Jake Brimmer or Nunny, when you can get an autograph off, Kosdra or Oppie? That's
I think Nick Kosdra was a little bit taken aback there. He was very surprised. But no, that is awesome. And obviously with the NPL starting early next year in February, a lot of the State League football won't be in action until later in March. So it's going to give a perfect opportunity for the non-aligned fan to come down to Alco Park and watch some of the best football in the state. We're looking forward to that. We're really excited about that prospect. And, mate, we wish you all the very best, obviously up in Sydney, but also for the whole pre-season leading up to NPL 23. That should be great.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just, look, it'll be a tremendous season for us next year, and I think if we prepare ourselves well, start the season, we can certainly achieve what we want to achieve. So, thank you.
Good on you, Stuart Begg, the coach of the North Geelong Warriors. And speaking of the future of the youth of Geelong, we've got a progress score, a final score, in fact, of the under-15 Victorian Greens team, which is the country team. They defeated Northern Territory 2-1 in the Game 2 of the National Boys Championships up in Coffs Harbour. We believe it was a young North Geelong junior, Marko Juric, who scored both goals, and apparently both from free kicks. So on opening day, both the under-14s and both the under-15s Victorian country teams have recorded 2 wins from 2 starts. So
off to a flyer.
Off to a flyer at the National Country Championships. That is really exciting about the future of Geelong football. We're going to take a very short break, and we're going to then look at the ladies. We're going to be talking to the coach of the Lara United senior women's team, Ryan HORROCKS. We're going to talk about what needs to be done to get the level of women's football at an even higher level than it is now. Don't go away, folks. We're going to take a very, very short break here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers of Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate, and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, episode 100, coming to you live from the sparkling new facilities at Hume Reserve. And we have the pleasure now, what a succession of great guests we've had. Unbelievable. Now, next, it's the all-conquering Lara United women's senior coach, Ryan HORROCKS. Thank you for joining us, and, well, congratulations not only on a great season, but
the
also...
Invincibles.
And also a bit of personal news, your engagement recently as well.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers, guys. Congratulations to you. 100 episodes, amazing achievement.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Ryan, and Ryan was a last-minute call-up. Thank you very much for that. We tried to get someone from Galaxy, but they couldn't get in. But you have just jumped in at the last time, and thank you very much, because every time we needed some assistance, or for you to come on the show, or personally, whenever I needed a quote from the Lara United camp, you were always accommodating. So thank you very much. And we spoke with Mike McKINSTRY earlier about the importance of clubs being proactive. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Towards the end of the season, you even started streaming some of your games.
Yeah, all our home games this season were streamed, which was
fantastic.
Really good. Thanks to SC Productions for that one, bit of a plug. But Sam did a really good job for us this year. We really appreciated that service, and everyone that couldn't get to the game live got to watch live, and some people watched after they got home from their own games as well, and you got to re-watch all seasons. Is really nice and unique experience. Yeah.
And it seems like at Lara United you've really got that unity going now all across the club, where you've got juniors coming and playing small-sided games at half-time in your senior women's games, and sticking around to watch the team play, whether it be the women's or the men's. And the men's had not a bad season as well in the State 5-2, but that's got to be a great thing to really stitch together that junior and senior framework, and it's probably something that maybe other clubs could strive to do better, like you guys are doing out at Lara.
Yeah, I think we've normalised State League women now out at Lara, obviously, with a lot of thanks to the old man's previous work as the coach, in terms of getting us into State League in the first place. Mm-hmm. And one of the longest current, I guess, teams that have been present in the state league in Geelong. So we've had players that have been juniors watching state league players and now are winning state league titles as Lara senior players, and that's the ambition, I suppose, for the next generation as well. Which I think will come with time with us. We see the ambition. North's obviously back now as well.
Yep. Rangers
are stepping in, and Galaxy's been around for a few years already. So, the longer they all stick around and the more jump on, they'll become similar as well.
Let's talk about next year. I mean, on this show, we've talked a lot about the year gone by. We talked about the successes of Geelong Rangers getting promoted to State 2, North Geelong doing well in State 1, Galaxy and VPLW, and now you're joining North Geelong in State 1. But next season, there's been a lot of restructuring happening from the very, very top all the way down to the bottom. And that sort of, there's no relegation, just promotion. So it means that a lot of teams that are moving up, there's none of that relegation. So how does that mean? Does that mean that next year you should, do quite well in State 1? The VPLW teams, i.e. Galaxy, should do really well because the best of those teams have moved on. So are you expecting... What are you expecting for next year?
Yeah, I suppose marginally speaking, typically you'd get, obviously, as many relegations as you would promotions out of the competition. So you would come in not necessarily as high up the ranks as we would be, just statistically speaking. There's two other teams coming with us, which would put us as the third lowest ranked or that sort of thing. But we obviously know that our ambition is to be higher up than that next year. But yeah, that's probably my expectation, is that we can already probably have a really good and promising State 1 season, probably better than we've had in the past, and that's nothing to do with the current squad so much as it is to do with the structures at the moment.
Yeah.
The squad we have and the successes they have is a bonus. The squad could be any squad and already probably achieve at a higher level just because of the way the league's set up. But we're lucky we have a really strong squad anyway, so we probably expect to be up there and abouts again next season,
And it will be an exciting year as well, and some of the challenges that you will have already been well and truly preparing for is fielding a State 1 senior and reserve side as well, and everything that comes along with that. Are you looking to bring in some more players into the framework there, and then also utilise that existing local league women's squad as well?
Yeah, I've tried not to drive it too much during the season, I suppose, in terms of the individuals that are around or that we've had historically, and just let the culture speak for itself. And it's already done a lot of that. There's a lot of people that have tapped me on the shoulder, or I've had a friend of a friend say, actually, this person's quite interested in moving across from the local team that I might have thought would just have really enjoyed local football and wanted to stay there, and are actually really keen on just coming and playing reserves next season, which is a great surprise, but I think is a really positive indictment on the culture we've built. So that's what we try to do the whole time. There's a lot of competition around in the region, and some good competition at that. So we want to use that as our point of difference. Obviously, a large part of my philosophy is youth-based as well, so having a reserves for us is going to play into that really well if we can get the right people on board and the young talent through the region.
Speaking of the talent through the region, now obviously with the 4 state league clubs, or 1 VPLW club and 3 state league clubs moving up divisions and things like that, have we got the calibre of young people coming through the ranks to be able to really compete at that level? I mean, we saw at Geelong Rangers where your dad and now fiancé is playing. EDDY Bertie, we had her on the show, 13-year-old breaking into the ranks. We saw Hunter and Poppy Gurkovic at Geelong Galaxy as well. Same, I think, 13 or 14 as well. So judging by that, it seems to me, wow, we've got some talented teenagers. But are they being maybe thrust in too early because maybe the depth isn't there? Or they actually, some of these players are absolutely fantastic players. And we've got some really exciting talent in the region. What's your take on all of that?
Yeah, I think they're phenomenal. That's the reason we won the under-14s and under-18s country champs this year. We've got the best players in the state right now in that age bracket, and we need to take full advantage of that. There's probably room for some education in there towards families, and that's all up to how the clubs want to angle that around state leagues, VPL, NPL, all that sort of thing, and the avenues and how to use them properly, as opposed to, and to be fair to them, if you're not from the sport at all, it's impossible to know unless someone taps you on the shoulder and tells you. But that talent is there. It just needs to be unlocked, and we need the permission from the parents to get those players to start playing state league and VPL competitions, because they will set the world alight. And if they all move from their now community clubs who only have community level senior teams towards state league and VPL, we could clean sweep again.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
So exciting.
Told you, bring on the 2023 season for more reasons than one now.
Now, speaking of excitement, we are hosting the World Cup Women's Football next year. That's it's just the most super exciting thing that we could think about. As your players, do the girls, is it something that you hear them talking about? Are they excited about it? They must be, something that will give them such a great source of inspiration next year. And not only that, will it be a strange year where we'll see the league take a little break perhaps during that tournament? Is that something you're expecting to happen?
Hope Football Victoria is looking, because some of our girls are planning some very exciting trips during the World Cup.
We've got a lot of games away in maybe Brisbane and Sydney.
I mean, Australia's in a good position, and not that you want to get too ahead of yourself, but if there is the potential for them to be an important final in Brisbane or Sydney on a Sunday, even a Saturday, you would feel it's important for that to be represented and valued. With midweek fixtures instead, or you know what I mean, just meet somewhere in the middle to allow the people to experience that. These are the people that have driven so much of it right now. The ones that are still playing and the ones that will be playing from the start of the next season are the ones that have driven Australia to be so heavily focused and involved and engaged with women's football, and have been a big reason that's come down to Australia, the World Cup. So they deserve to go and see it and not have to play while everyone else that is becoming interested, gets the ticket instead. I'd like to see that personally.
Yeah, I think given people travel around the world to attend these things, it's only fair to allow our next generation to be able to attend the matches in their own backyard.
That's it. Give them a tell.
But mate, when we speak about the Women's World Cup, if memory serves me correctly, a few years back, we actually, all the way from France, we had you on a live hookup, I think it was. You actually went to the last Women's World Cup in France, you and Rachel. So
I was there too.
You were there as well. That's right, you were too. Okay,
you missed out, mate.
I'm in esteemed company here. First-hand, so you've had first-hand experience, and obviously France is a football-mad country, of course it is. But we're a sports-mad country here in Australia. What can Australia expect from the Women's World Cup?
I think Australia's in for a shock.
I've heard this before,
There's a lot of people that will be coming from all over the world. Yes, Australians will get behind it, I suppose, to a certain extent. Mostly when Australia's playing. Look, there'll be some nations obviously don't fill out stadiums. That's all part and parcel. But when the US supporters are down here, as long as they stay in the country for a while, the English, a lot of the European countries, they won't just bring supporters that are going to the game. They will all travel. The Dutch as well. I don't know how much you guys saw of footage from the fans at the Euros recently, the Women's Euros. They will be in the streets, in the pubs full, and I'm not sure if they're prepared to have their doors open for that long and are ready for all those people to come. But the accommodation will be booked out, and people will be scrounging for tickets.
I think you're right. I think overnight we saw the women's soccer league record broken or something like that.
50-odd thousand at the North London derby.
Exactly. And that was an incredible number. And the records just seem to be broken and keep getting broken. And I think next year, I've heard this from a few people, I don't think Australia, the sporting fraternity here in Australia, know quite what they're in for, which is great. And hopefully we, particularly at this local level, can really capitalise on it. And no doubt we will, participation-wise. And now it's the next level is that very next level is the elite level. So, mate, it's exciting times. 2023, I think, is going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, while we're at it, can we give your family a little bit of a plug? Because apparently down Lara way this Christmas, early December, the HORROCKS family are behind a great new project called the Christmas Village. And if you are after a little bit of a European taste of Christmas in Geelong, make your way down to Lara this year, the Christmas Village.
They're going to have to sponsor the show next year, aren't they?
They will have to, yeah. Tell us very, very quickly a little bit about that. And your dad, obviously, Tony, testimonies from the Manchester area, and we know Christmas markets in Europe are massive. What's this little thing that I've been hearing?
Plenty of walkthrough and displays, very engaging. It's all happening right now. Well, not quite as we speak, but day by day at the moment. Scrubbing up some nice miniature houses. So they're cubby houses we made to look like nicely, beautifully painted up European style houses, all lined in Christmas lights, and as gingerbread houses and factories and whatnot. Yeah, it'll be really nice, I think, to have that kind of touch of Christmas a bit local.
That's going to be
fantastic.
Awesome. So before the 2023 season kicks off, a lot to look forward to. In the meantime, we've got the World Cup, and then we've also got Christmas here in Geelong in a way that hasn't been presented beforehand. On that note, thank you very much, Ryan, for joining us. We really, really appreciate you throughout your support throughout the year, and wishing you and Lara United all the very, very best in 2023.
Thanks, guys. I'll speak to you next year.
That you will. Good on you. Ryan HORROCKS, the coach of the senior women's team at Lara United. We're going to take a very, very quick break. When we return, we may jump to, we're hoping to get our 2 councillors. We've got 1 out of 2 here, and the other one may be on his way. So we might jump to our junior expert, the junior development expert, coach of the Geelong Rangers under-13 boys team, which yesterday played in the state finals. Pete Bradley, he'll be talking to us about junior development and also what needs to be done and what can be done to even further increase the level of quality that we've got in our juniors here in Geelong. Don't go away, folks. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
As the first solar tube skylight installer in Victoria, Scotsco Skylighting has nearly 30 years of experience and offers a variety of services including custom-made skylights, high-quality Velux skylights, and a variety of solar tube daylighting systems. The benefits of having the skylight in your home are many. They let natural light into your space, and with that light comes solar heat, improving your mood and even helping with performance in workplaces. Plus, heating your home with sunlight can save on heating costs during the chilly seasons. Cosmetic changes like skylights can add equity into your home, and similar to adding mirrors on the walls, skylights can make a room feel bigger and more spacious. It's about time you enjoyed all these benefits plus more. So what are you waiting for? To get a free daylight assessment and installation quote, call our founder and owner Adrian Begg on 0409 823 177 or visit our website at www.scotscoskylights.com.au. Scotsco Skylighting is proudly Geelong owned and operated.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and we are getting through our guests at a very, very breakneck speed, Steve. And we've still got some absolute perler guests to come, A-list guests. And speaking of A-list guests, he's one of the best when it comes to junior development and junior football. He really knows what is going on. He's got his finger on the pulse, and he was involved with the Geelong Country Junior Championships this year. He's also been heavily involved in coaching clinics and whatnot. And he's also the coach of the Geelong Rangers under-15 boys team that played in the state finals yesterday. Pete Bradley, welcome, Pete, to the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Thanks, Tonchi. Thanks, Steve. Congratulations on your 100th show.
Well, thank you very much for that. We do appreciate that. And congratulations, well done to your team, the under-13 junior boys team. They did a ridiculously fantastic effort this year. Went through the whole season undefeated, and yesterday played in the State League finals. Tell us, how did the season go in under-13 Metros?
Yeah, look, it was a fantastic year. No question about it. First year in Metro. Wanted to give the boys an opportunity to be challenged, which we did by going into the Metro League. And they just embraced it through the year. Great experience playing in the big sides away, and it was something different going up the road every other Sunday. And yeah, great season. Finished off with the final. Oops, finishing off with the final yesterday. Just couldn't get over the line, but no, a great effort by all the boys and everyone involved.
And this was the first year that the club had stepped up to this Metro level, and they took all before them.
Yeah, for the younger ones, I think been a couple of Metro teams in the past, but been a while between breaks. So yeah, to go back in there and take it on was great.
Yeah, and last year your team in the under-12s just swept everything before it. So you've obviously, it was a natural progression to move up to Metro. How did you find the standard at under-13 level. Was it vastly different to what you saw in Geelong, or is it just a little bit better?
Yeah, look, I think one of the things in hindsight we'd probably do differently, we'd put into the A division. We entered into the Bs because we just, frankly, we weren't sure of where we were, and that was one of the things with the Geelong sides competing in Metro. It's hard to gauge where you are, but so we went into the B, and look, I think a lot of games were similar, but there were a few teams at the exception. So I know the A division would have probably been more of a representative league to go in, but you just never know. So,
and is that the plan for next season? They will be moving into that division, or are they got to jump a bit of a bridge in the age? Does it go up to 14s or 15s?
14 would be the plan next year, definitely. And obviously that's a bigger step going onto the full pitch as well. So.
True.
From the small-sided football to 11-a-side, so it'll be a good challenge.
And as the coach, what do you take away from going into from the local to the Metro competition as well? Was there things that you realised about the players or about your coaching style that you're able to take away from that season? Yeah,
look, I think the intensity of the Metro games is something that struck me from the start, from the onset. Definitely the Metro teams seem to put that pressure on the ball and on the players. Certainly the intensity was definitely a step up. As I say, technically, skill-wise, probably in a lot of games similar, but they're certainly keen to get that through.
Now, Pete, if we look at the under-12, under-13, that's the pre-NPL pathway. We saw in the under-12 Wallabies, North Geelong captured first prize. Cheap shout out, that was my team. They did very well. And Geelong was the second team, and they were absolutely fantastic. And a big shout out to Phil Couchy and to Michael Clancy at the Geelong Soccer Club. The respect they showed in the last game when we played against them at Stead Park, and they provided this like a little opening, I guess like a ceremony. It was great to see, but that was something that Phil and I spoke about, how good it is that Geelong clubs seem to be dominating. In your division, 13B division, you were on top, and North Geelong as well were undefeated on the same level points, but inferior goal difference. And then in the 13As, North Geelong conquered with 3 or 4 rounds to go. We're seeing the fruits of some of those talents, like at the National Boys Country... I keep calling it the Country Championships, the National Championships. We've just found out both the under-14 and under-15 Victorian country teams have won both their games on opening day. So it's not just the 12s and the 13s, but 14s and 15s, and that seems to be now flowing through. We've got some really amazing talent at this level, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. And Geelong... Yeah, yesterday, just for example, when we were in Darebin, it was great to see North Geelong A team up there as well. So it was good to see two competitive teams from the region, competing at that final level, which was great. And just with the under-13s, for example, there's I think 3 or 4 actually very good sides around in the region. You've got the 2 North Geelong sides, obviously. Geelong have got a very competitive under-13s, plus the Rangers side and obviously the local one. So there's a good bunch of under-13 boys out there in particular, which is good signs for the future for Geelong, and then obviously the under-12s backing it up as well. So,
and we saw the Country Championships, and that was something that you were quite involved in. The Geelong teams, both boys and girls, did very, very well at various age levels. That's that next tier, isn't it? Like providing, and that was something that when you were involved at Go FC coaching, you were heavily involved in providing that alternative pathway to representative football. And that also enabled a lot of the boys and girls who probably didn't want to be part of the NPL program for whatever reason. They could still play at a higher level. Is that not something else that's also starting to really produce some quality players at all levels?
Yeah, look, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think as coaches and people involved in the club, in club football and administration in Geelong, we need to provide these opportunities. There's players from all different levels, boys, girls, who need to find that level. And then the more opportunities we can provide, whether it's NPL, whether it's country champs, whether it's Metro, tournaments, things like that, it just makes them feel comfortable, and they'll progress through there, because once they get that hunger to get better, we've noticed it with country champs, these kids want to aspire and they do get better, and it's making sure that we've got these places, you know, in position for them, because there is a lot of talent in Geelong. It's just making sure, how do we harness it? How do we point them in the right direction? How do we make them feel comfortable?
And how do we do that? That's the big question.
That's a good question. That's the $100 question.
Yeah. Oh, we tackle all the hard issues here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Look, I think the main, it starts with the basics. It starts with participation. I think if we can grow that participation and grow the kids' passion for the game from an early age, I think that's where it all starts. And I think that starts with obviously with the mini roos. So if clubs can provide a good, welcoming, friendly environment where kids can come along and try football for the first time, that's where they gain that love for the sport. And then, you know, they take onwards to wherever. And then I guess the next stage is coaches. I guess it's getting not just top level coaches, but good people willing to participate and take these kids through that early age. Not necessarily the best coaches in the world, but people who provide that environment where kids can flourish. I think that's a key thing. So I know Football Victoria are trying to, you know, promote their coach education and things like that, which is great, but getting that pool of coaches and people there to provide the kids is key, I think, as well.
And where do you think we're at? Like, obviously, you've been involved in the Metro competition this year with the juniors. In our particular local community competition for the juniors, do you think we're in a good space at the moment, or maybe not as good as we were in the past, or somewhere that we're maybe recovering from that sort of post-COVID couple of years, and we're going to be booming in the next couple of years, perhaps? I think
you're right with that one. I think the COVID obviously had an impact in football, not, you know, just around the country, not just Geelong, but I think numbers were down in the Geelong region this year, and I think this year is pretty much a reset year. But we've seen from the finals and from the numbers there, they're going to come back. And I think the Geelong region will only get stronger. And I think with the likes of Mike and Rob Palmachuddy in that area now, those guys have got a lot of good ideas. Yeah. And I think that's another important thing with those guys sort of leading the ship. Trying different things is also another key to what we're doing. Some things will work, some things won't. But I guess we've got to not just be stuck in the mould and do the same things. I think we've got to try and experiment in the region and, you know, try and bring these different ideas to life. You know, whether it's the gala days, or whether it's, you know, getting the A-League clubs back into the region to provide, you know, the excitement. There's a lot of things that the region can do to kick off again. Yeah,
from a junior development, if we're looking at next year, I suppose, you know, more Rangers teams are going up to Melbourne. There's talk of a few other clubs as well sending teams up to Melbourne. So their juniors are destined to be playing at a higher level. Western Heights College, Joey Didlitz's program, that innovative program for the region, which will see kids basically become professional soccer players. They'll be training every day at school and part of their school curriculum. Western United obviously coming up with their academy as well. That's launching next year as well. There's a lot of opportunities now for kids to be playing at an even higher level. And we've seen, you know, young teenagers from the Geelong region this year actually go overseas and go to Europe. You know, we've got a couple at the moment overseas experiencing a little bit of European football. The only thing that seems to be missing from that is quality coaches, isn't it? To fill all those programs, to fill all those things. And look, we can try and get coaches from outside the region, but you did mention something about coach education. And a lot of the time it's been left to the coaches themselves, and in some cases the clubs themselves. Can Football Victoria, or can maybe the Geelong Region Football Committee do that little bit more, just to, I don't know, to foster that coach education? Yeah, look, and I think it's trying to find the balance of coaches' time as well. I mean, coaches, everybody's time precious at the moment, and you know, there's the coach education, the current programs in points which take up your weekend or whatever. So there may be something there that can be just tailored a little bit to suit the coaches. But also, again, as a coach, you've really got to take that responsibility yourself to push yourself a little bit and to learn in every session that you go on. It's not so much the Football Victoria and the coach education part of it that's probably the most important. It's the networking with the coaches and the talking and the learning from the other guys that are on that course, and that's where you sort of learn, you know, the debate more than the actual black and white
stuff that they're trying to teach you. And that, I think, and going out there and experimenting as well. I mean, there's so many different coaches around and doing great things, and they've all got their own story to tell. So I don't think they can actually. From
a personal level, that I found something really fulfilling, really entertaining, enjoying is I did my C license, still doing it at the moment this year, and it gave me an opportunity to sort of speak with a few other coaches as well from other clubs who are at different levels, and everyone's at different levels. But it was you sort of start to develop a bit of a camaraderie as well, and but you also see, and one good example is Mark Wyeth at Surf Coast Women's Senior Women's. They captured the title this year. And just being part of that network pushes you to sort of strive for, your own, I guess, achievements to go to a little bit higher levels. So maybe it's that networking that we probably need. But nonetheless, it's really exciting when you think about what our region is actually producing. And somewhere down the track, they must have been exposed to some very, very good coaching for them to be where they are.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that with the nationals. And it's going on at the moment, and obviously the sporting school stuff as well. There's a good representation of kids from Geelong in that, and then obviously the two MPL teams that we've got down here, 2 MPL clubs is just an asset for the region, plus the Geelong Galaxy in the women's side of it as well, and the girls. So we've got all the pieces of the puzzle. I guess we've just got to try and how they fit together, and I think that's another key thing that. Which probably need to do. The clubs and the coaches need to work together. I think that's another key thing for the region. If we're going to strive and go forward, then we need to, share not so much the information, but we need to be working together as a group to sort of. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to develop kids, trying to make them enjoy the game, go through that, and we can only do that as a collective group. I think that's another key thing for the region.
Definitely. Now, another thing we touched on as well was sport in schools, football in schools. You used to be involved with Western United, taking football to the different schools. Is there any tricks or any hacks we can try and institute football as part of the school curriculum at all of our Geelong schools somehow? Yeah,
look, I think there's a lot of work going on in the background with Football Victoria and other organisations to get football into schools. And it's work in progress. There's a lot of schools and a lot of sports competing to get into that school area. So look, I think it's little chipping away at different things, but
keep plugging away.
Keep plugging away. That's all we can do.
And the other thing that program does facilitate as well is that coaches can actually earn a little bit of money from coaching. So if they have got a couple of different gigs at various schools, plus they may be coaching on the weekend, maybe involved in something else, they can actually make a little bit. Well, they're not going to get rich, but they're certainly going to be able to make somewhat of a living out of that. So
and more experience for them as a coach as well.
100%.
The key detail.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, Pete, thank you so much for joining us tonight. He was very eager. He was here at 4 o'clock already, sleeping out on and on the steps there. Very, very excited. But certainly something that is very exciting is the next 12 to 18 months, and we look forward to seeing your team progress next year to the under-14 Metro. Will it be next year? Yep. Looking forward to that, maybe going one step better and becoming state champions. Who knows? You never know.
Fingers crossed, though.
Yeah. Pete Bradley, coach of the Geelong Rangers under-13 boys team, who did very, very well throughout the season. And thank you for joining us and talking junior development.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we're going to be talking to 2 councillors from the City of Greater Geelong, 2 very, very pro soccer councillors, EDDY KONTELJ and KYLIE GRZYBEK. And there's some big news that's happening tomorrow, but also over the next few months in that field. So don't go away, folks. We've still got a massive, massive show lined up for you here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers at Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client, every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, episode 100, coming to, of course, live from Hume Reserve. These fantastic new facilities, very comfortable in here indeed, and thanks again to our sponsor for tonight, Barry Plant of Geelong. But very special guest with us now, KONTELJ. We've got straight from the Councillors Lounge at the new City of Greater Geelong building. We've got alongside us here Councillors EDDY KONTELJ and KYLIE GRZYBEK. Good evening to you both. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Here in these beautiful rooms.
Mind you, these rooms are much more lush than the Councillors Lounge.
Is that right? Is that right?
This is covered in gold here.
Well, the City of Greater Geelong knows where its priorities lie, exactly. Folks, it's been a huge weekend, obviously, because of that other sport, but it is good for the region. It is good for the region, let's face it. But what is also good for the region is the G21 soccer strategy. KYLIE, let's first of all chat about that. We spoke with Mike McKINSTRY earlier tonight, and he mentioned a bit about that. Long overdue, but once that's done, once that document is done, what does that mean for the soccer community, for the football community in not just Geelong, but the 5 councils around this area?
Yeah. Puts them on an even playing field now with other sports in the region, and you can actually really see the difference that it makes when we make council decisions, because we know where the facilities are where it's most required to spend, where we can really make a difference in the community. So it rates sort of facilities, so who has lights, who has female-friendly change rooms, and so when we make decisions at council, we can really rely on that document. So I think it's super important, not only for us, but for state government and federal government when they're putting grants out there.
Definitely, it really underpins the value of the infrastructure that we need and that we can use. Now, tomorrow night at Lara, council monthly council meeting, taking it to the community out in the northern suburbs.
Our neck of the woods, KYLIE.
Your neck of the woods.
Looking excited about that.
Yeah, special notice of motion that surrounds the facility at Elco Park. North Geelong Football Club, the Warriors in NPL, the top tier of Victorian football next season. That's a private facility, but there might be some council assistance to make sure that is a facility that we can be proud of for next season for the whole region, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's a really important notice of motion, and whilst I'm moving it, it's been a collective effort. KYLIE and Anthony Aitken have been very much engaged in this. So we've been hearing from North Geelong Warriors, as we did with Bell Park previously, just the challenges that they face in maintaining the sustainability of a facility and a soccer club such as that. And what we're trying to do here is, as KYLIE said before, is put clubs on an even playing field, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
And North Geelong Warriors have been contributing to not only community, but also to soccer for, some 5, nearly 6 decades. And with very little support and funding from council, in fact. And we know that the way the soccer clubs are run, and many clubs, not just soccer clubs, that voluntary group, it's not like it used to be 10 years ago. It's much harder to get people to do the work. You have to pay for a lot of that these days as well. COVID has had an impact. And, we know that, maintaining a pitch is somewhere between, $40,000 to $55,000 a year. And so, costs of water, costs of maintenance, fertiliser, all those kinds of things makes it very, very difficult. So what we're doing with the notice of motion is, one, trying to provide some immediate funding to help the North Geelong Warriors over the next 6 months. But more importantly is then to have council review the fair play strategy to see if there's a way that we can also support sporting clubs that are on either privately owned or state government land. And that's what we're trying to achieve there. If we can get a good outcome out of that, I believe, again, no pun intended, but that will be a game changer for North Geelong. And we see it as partnering. We don't, and I know that Warriors are not looking for a handout. We see this as partnering to invest in sporting opportunities for our community and for soccer in the region.
Speaking of soccer in the region, we've seen how some of the juniors are performing so well currently at the National Boys Championship. We saw, I think there were 3 girls from the Geelong region last week in the Girls Championship as well. And we just spoke to Pete Bradley, who spoke about the under-12, under-13 pathway program. A lot of clubs that are coming through the ranks. It seems to me that we're producing these amazing young players, yet some of our facilities are kind of a bit subpar. But if we get the facilities to a higher level, that's going to have a flow-on effect, not just for North Geelong Warriors, but for a lot of the other local players that come to North Geelong. I know there were some Melbourne clubs, I think it was Kingston City this year, and they came to play in an NPL2 level competition, and they saw the boggy ground that they had to warm up on. I said, This is embarrassing. This is really, really embarrassing. I guess maybe Stuart Begg and some of the North Geelong guys would have said that was their secret weapon, playing on bumpy ground when everyone else plays on pristine conditions. But if this does get over the line and the facilities become even better, geez, the sky's the limit as to what sort of quality youngsters this city could be producing. Absolute international quality youngsters. Is that something that the current council may be able to be swayed, especially when we've got the Women's World Cup on the way in the country next year?
Well, I'll make a couple of comments, and then I know that KYLIE will speak from a position of real knowledge in terms of her knowledge on soccer. But as far as investment in facilities, you'd have to at least give some credit for some of the work that's been done over the last decade. Tonji, you've seen a lot of investment from this council into many of the clubs here in Geelong, particularly in the north. There's still plenty of work to be done, that's granted. But I mean, here's an example of work that's been done that we know is having real benefits for soccer and for the development of players going forward. However, there are areas that need help, and Warriors is an area. Pitch 3 here at Hume we know needs further investment. So yes, there's more work. Can this council be swayed, to use your terminology? There's work to be done. Tomorrow night will be a test of that, because we've got a really important decision to make that will test us in terms of our courage to forge ahead with this. We understand that it comes with some financial investment. But we think we've got a progressive council, and we'd like to think that this will gain the support of the council group. But
how can the football community help you guys? How can they show support to support what you guys are trying to do in the council? Because what you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic, and we are blessed to have pro soccer, pro football councillors in the city of Greater Geelong. But how can the wider football community in Geelong help support you guys, what you guys are doing?
I think it's about continuing to engage with us across the region. I think there's, Eddie and I quite sort of get labelled about soccer heads in council. But it actually is.
That's a badge of honour.
Important. So when we're talking to Drysdale, for example, when we're talking to Leopold, or if we're talking to Barwon Heads, because it's soccer, they would come to us first, and it's a really positive step, because they know that we understand their club. And so what we do is then dial in the ward councillor to make sure that they're still across all of that. But I keep an eye on those. All things soccer, Eddie and I are usually across. I think we try to make sure that council understands that soccer is just as important as AFL, as netball, as basketball, and all of those other sports. I think what we've done as a community, though, as the GRFC has gotten stronger and stronger, it shows that you now can get bigger and bigger and better facilities, because we're talking to Football Victoria. They're going into bat for us now that we've got a stronger GRFC. So we're really proud of that, and we just want that to continue.
And I think, Tonji, we've talked about this before. It's about engagement, as KYLIE said. The AFL do a great job. In engaging community. They know how to engage with all levels of government, and soccer's doing a good job, but we've got to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Not engaging us, but engaging state, engaging feds, and I think you're getting a lot more organised, but that's really important.
We have a state election coming up.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So what we should be doing as a community is talking to your local members, talking to the members that are running in that election, and tell them how important soccer is in this region, and how they can invest. Is you can go and get a first draft of the G21 strategy and see what facilities need to be upgraded. You can go and talk to Mike McKINSTRY at the GRFC and he can tell you. You can go and talk to Matt Green at Football Victoria and ask what needs to be done. So there is ways that people can get involved, and they can knock on the door of their candidates and they can start to spruik that.
Definitely. Now a question for you, Ed. We put a lot of money as a council, put a lot of money into the business case or the research of supporting a regional soccer facility. It's something that we talk about sort of on and off. Is that something that we can realistically see happening in the coming years that you think we might see, or is that still some way off, do we think?
Look, there's work to be done. There's no doubt about it. And look, we put $50,000 in here. I'm not being flippant, but you know, it's not cattle stations, but it was an incentive to try to get us, you know, started. And so there's work being done. We've now listened to the clubs, had feedback provided. Whilst we haven't got a fully formed business case, there is opportunity though now with what we have developed is to tap into things like the state election, some of those discussions that are going on with you know, government ministers, government, Football Victoria, all those organisations. Sometimes this is a bit about seeding until we actually get there. Can I see it happening? Yes, I can, but it will take some will, and it will need to continue to have the support of the soccer community, government, and of course the will of those governments to be able to deliver.
And obviously the G21 strategy coming out, being updated for soccer in the region can only help, and also the fact that we have got 2 major growth areas in the city is possibly further case for something like this to happen.
Absolutely.
And look, and KYLIE again will speak to this, but you mentioned growth areas. I mean, they're some of the things that might help something like this happen. So, you know, you talk about the northeastern growth zones. They're things that could help with, you know, developing something like this going into the future.
I mean, you look at the growth in Armstrong Creek alone, you know, you start to think about what is it that region that needs, and we've got a draft of that strategy already in terms of the regional state. So that's helping provide us to give to government to say, you know, these are the numbers, these are the hard facts about how many people are, what the trajectory is of growth for soccer in Geelong, and a regional stadium is required, and it's required right now. So the longer we wait, the more we're going to need. So if we've got to get it now. That's really important.
And we talk about the World Cup and the Women's World Cup, and there are several regional areas that are hosting clubs, or countries I should say, national teams, and we're unfortunately not one of them because we don't have that infrastructure. But we've got the Commonwealth Games, and there's going to be legacy projects and stadiums, and that we're talking about hockey at Stead Park. There's talking about a 15,000 seater stadium that eventually will, you know, obviously be downgraded. But that's the kind of legacy items that we seem to be missing out. So, moving forward, what's the next step? Do we as clubs need to collaborate a lot more, or we as the football community? Because as you said, Eddie, AFL does a really good job of that. How can we, I don't know, tap into whether it be all levels of government and get our, you know, seat at the table and not just sort of, you know, stand at the back of the room and wait for someone to call our name.
I think the conversations that are happening right now is sort of, you know, with Football Victoria, and they're doing the advocacy for us. But once this report is finished and it's table it at council, I reckon it's time for a campaign style, you know, just, you know, hashtag regional stadium for Geelong.
Yes, I love it.
How do we get momentum there? And that then draws the attention of, you know, state and federal members and Football Victoria. They need to be down here. Football Victoria need to be down here, and they need to be showing that we're a region that won't sit down and just take it. We're serious here about football, and we need to make sure that we get our support from the clubs to do that.
Absolutely fantastic. Now that it's been an exciting night. We're talking about all these things that are going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months, Steve. But when you listen to these two councillors, that is really, really exciting stuff. Guys, we wish you all the very best in your crusade for the regional soccer facility, but also just to increase funding. And as you say, if I may, probably an example of how good a job you guys are doing is that we are in a safe Labor seat up here in the northern suburbs, and yet we're still getting a lot of fair share of funding for the facilities. I hear Bell Park's going to get floodlights in the off season as well. So it's been absolutely brilliant, and hopefully the notice of motion gets passed tomorrow, and that's at the Lara Community Centre at 6 p.m. So. Not just North Geelong supporters, all soccer supporters come along and wear your soccer gear.
Club colours.
And be respectful. Don't start singing ole, ole, ole while there's a council meeting happening.
And there is an opportunity tomorrow, Tonchi, also that, for people that want to come and ask a question and also couch a statement in a manner that is a question to the councillors tomorrow night to help support the notice of motion if that's what they see that they'd like to do. So that is an opportunity. There's open question time tomorrow at the start of the council meeting.
Can I just call out one?
You sure can.
John Aaron's retiring from politics, and he's done his final speech. But just to call out that he's been a big supporter of soccer in the northern suburbs, and good luck to John in his future endeavours. But he has been a big supporter, and that's one of the reasons why we've been able to get so much in here as well. Yeah.
Well, the Corio Soccer Club president, Mario Gregorio, will be very happy about that, because he means that we might get John now working behind the bar or in the kitchen, because he's heavily involved with this very club. And Lara United, his son's been involved at Lara United as well. So absolutely, his contribution has been second to none. Thank you very much, Eddie. Thank you very much, Kylie. We look forward to having you guys on the show in 2023. But in the meantime, thank you very much for being a part of episode 100 of the Geelong.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Eddie KONTELJ and KYLIE GRZYBEK, councillors from the City of Greater Geelong, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at the Lara Community Centre. A very, very important council meeting, taking it to the masses, and a notice of motion is being put forward by Councillor KONTELJ. Let's hope that gets over the line. When we return, it's almost time to wind up, but we are going to leave the best for last. We're going to have the president of the hosting club, Mario Gregorio, joining us, who has been a big supporter of the Geelong Region Soccer Show and football in general in this town. So what better person to wind up our 100th episode than the president of the hosting club. Folks, don't go away. It is the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Thank you.
At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers at Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate, and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client, every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, episode number 100. What a night it has been so far. But the big guests just keep coming, don't they? Because now, in the form of the president of the club in which we are inhabiting tonight, it is Mario Gregorio, president of the Corio Soccer Club. He's been patiently waiting in the green room, and now he is on the set. A very good evening to you, Mario, and thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for having us here in these new facilities, which I can see you're looking pretty smug about because they're very nice.
Yeah, they're nice. No, thank you very much, and congratulations on your 100th show. Well done.
Thanks, mate, and congratulations to you. But as we said, we're in this magnificent, lavish new facilities that's well overdue, and you've been lobbying and pushing hard for the last 3-4 years, but you finally got it over the line. And mate, this year we've seen a GRFC meeting held here for the first time in 3 years, face to face. We've had the final series as well here, and now we've got the show as well here. But you've also had other social functions here at the club, which is something that you haven't been able to do before. Having your own facility, having your own space, I mean, this must have given Corio Soccer Club quite a massive boost in 2022.
Look, it has, because now we open up on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights for dinner, and also Friday nights. People feel comfortable here on the matches on Saturdays and Sunday afternoons when Galaxy are playing as well. So look, it's been a game changer for us. It's been fantastic. Can't thank our previous guests, KYLIE and EDDY, for what they've done for the Corio Soccer Club.
Now, can we touch on, was it just like last weekend? It feels like time's just flown by, but it was only weekend before the one just gone. You hosted the grand finals here. We had a fixture, well, we call it an upgrade, where you change the matches to be played under lights, particularly with the men's Division 1 final on the Sunday night. How did the day play out? Was it everything that you expected and hoped for, and what was the feedback from the visiting fans?
Look, everyone loved the new facilities. They loved the ground. I love the social rooms, the bar. I mean, we did fantastic. I mean, we was, beyond our dreams what we did in terms of takings over the bar and all that. And it's sort of, I guess, the rooms and the deck and all that lend themselves for a great viewing and a great sort of comfortable environment. It just feels like a sports bar type of thing environment. So it's been fantastic.
Has it revitalised the club itself, like in terms of attracting new volunteers that you probably didn't have before, or do you struggle to get volunteers? Like, it's a big job. It's a big task.
Look, I mean, 3 years ago there was just myself, Zolly, and my wife, and now I've got Mick and Mick's sister-in-law, and we had about 5 or 6, 7 or 8 volunteers on the grand final of the GRFA final. So it's been a lot easier to attract volunteers, particularly in our state-of-the-art kitchen and the new facilities. Have been fantastic. You always want more, but so does every club.
Yeah.
And has it been mirrored on field as well? Because the team, at least in the State League 1 seniors, were looking down the barrel a little bit early in the season, and then I think once these facilities were opened up, you really had a change of fortunes on the field, and you guys started rocketing up the table.
Yeah, we did. At the halfway mark, I was down and out. We were on the bottom of the ladder, I think, at one stage. And the second half of the year, we had 7 wins, and if you take the second half of the year results into account only, we would have finished in 4th place. So the new facilities had something to do with that. Players would come. And there's a gym in there, great new change rooms and shower rooms and all that. So they felt like part of a club, a semi-professional club. So it did help.
And you've got great, like the actual surface of the pitches is fantastic. You've got great flood lighting, and as you said, the amenities now are absolutely fantastic. Is Corio Soccer Club now becoming a bit of a destination club for a lot of the players around the region?
Oh, look, I'd like to,
like to think so.
I'd like to think so, but we're probably. Oh, look, it's a lot easier to attract players now. I mean, new coaches and all that, and players. So when we take players through the facilities, it does make it a lot easier to attract players. We have ambitions to finish in the top 4 next year.
Yep.
And we're not going to just say, we just want to stay in State 1. You've got to have ambition, and the committee have decided that we need to try and improve our performance and finish in the top 4. And you never know, if we finish in the top 2, well, then we could be in MPL. That'd be an incredible feat, because 3 years ago we had no juniors.
Yeah.
Now we've got 160 juniors, so it's been fantastic.
And the club's focus on female football obviously extends to your relationship now with the Geelong Galaxy, sharing the facility here as well. I understand they're back again here next year, but also the women's football program and junior girls football program as well is something that's expanding here at the club as well, and something that's got a bright future, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, look, about 35-40% of our junior base is female, and we've got girls up until under 12s, and now we've got that relationship with Galaxy. So if there are girls that can, get into the Galaxy system, they can move up to the under-13 Galaxy. So when you take the Galaxy into account, there's probably that adds another 140 females to our new facilities, which is fantastic.
And speaking of the juniors there, that's one area of the club that's grown tremendously over the last few years. And here's a chance to shout out to Slavko KONTELJ and some of the other members of the junior committee. But it went from, 2018, there was no juniors, to now having,
160.
160 in
Yeah.
4 years. Mind you, we've had a COVID interruption in that time as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the secrets there has been the fact that you've got some really good sponsors, and that's being able to subsidise some of the costs, but you've got some good coaches, you've got some progressive coaches as well, but obviously the facilities themselves as well. But there must be something else. Is it the culture that's being created at the club as well?
Yeah, look, the new facilities have a lot to do with it. A lot of hard work through Slavko, Mick Cookchek and the rest of the committee, Zolly and all that. Look, we made a concerted effort to try and get our junior program going.
Yeah.
We still have a gap between our State 1 seniors and the quality of our juniors. We've got to bridge that gap.
Yep.
Because ultimately we want to try and bring juniors into our senior system. So it's going to be a long haul.
Yep.
But, our under-12 juniors came through the season undefeated. But that's going to take 5 or 6 years before we find, something come out of those under-12s. But, look, there's a plan, and we're going to try and, emulate what North Geelong and Geelong have done with their junior program. Hopefully we can do the same.
Yeah, fantastic.
And it just seems like a great opportunity, given that the club is doing a good job at the moment with the senior football ranks. But if you inject into that young talent that's been bred here and wants to go out there in the green and white and play for the shirt because they've always played here, you can only imagine how much of a boost that will be for the club. So I can only imagine that player retention is going to just be a really critical focus for everyone involved.
It is
at the club in the coming years.
It is. Look, it's important that we brand the Corio Soccer Club as a good club, a good culture, and a bit of a destination for juniors to come in. Hopefully they'll stay on and then move into our senior program, whether it be our senior men's or Geelong Galaxy girls.
Now, speaking about a destination club, over the last few years, we've seen a lot of good imports coming in here from England, from Japan, from Canada even. You seem to be a bit of a front runner in that regard, and obviously you've got a very good scouting department. Joey Giacomazzo, he's in the background. He does a lot of hard work in the background as well. But you seem to, because of a lot of good experiences that those players have had, MJ Monaghan is one, Ethan Gage came to the country, then moved on to the NPL. Is the word slowly getting around in some of those circles that Corio is the place to come, for your first step, if you like, in Australian football?
Yeah, look, in 2019, the 3 imports that we had a really good experience, and I can then relay that to new visa players that we're looking at. Joey would look through 100 videos of potential visa players.
Wow.
He absolutely loves it.
Wow.
We've got a couple on the go at the moment, but yeah, it's important that we improve the quality of our visa players if we want to get promoted from State 1. So Joey and I are looking at a couple of visa players from England and Argentina. There's a lot. A lot of people do want to come to Australia. Just experience it. Last year we got a fantastic Japanese player. He was only 18 years old. He's gone back to Japan, but I'm sure Joey will find someone new, won't you, Joey?
Is there any secret in bringing in these players and convincing them to come to the club? Are you sending them pictures of Eastern Beach and some drink cards?
Yeah,
for
I
the
do that.
Home house,
maybe. Yeah, I send them videos of Home House. I send them the 2.5 minute promo video of Geelong. And people think, wow, this is fantastic until they experience our winter. But we'll just continually look over their video highlights over and over and over again and study it and study it and study it. And then we'll pick the player and we'll bring them over here and make sure we look after them well.
Now, one thing, Mario, you're a businessman, and the good fundamentals of business, and as a result of that, you've seen a lot of success here, a lot of blue chip sponsors, but also collaborating with Galaxy, bringing them over to here and their co-tenants there as well. But you've also you've been a big one of the instigators, if you like, of Geelong Advertiser once again having coverage in the local press as well, and working with a lot of the other clubs through the GRFC for the betterment of the sport. And I firmly believe if what's good for the sport ultimately will trickle down to all of the clubs. Is that something that really drives you? That I know you love your AFL, but is there something that really pushes you and drives you to make soccer even bigger, even better than it is here in Geelong?
Oh, look, at the start of the year, a lot of people, and particularly people in their 70s and 80s, didn't know what games were on the weekend. My father would complain week in, week out, oh, who's playing? Marty, who's playing? Who's playing? Who's playing? So it was important for me to try and get the parties together to try and get the article in the Geelong Advertiser on a weekly basis, because it's every club benefits. Corio benefits, North Geelong benefits, Lara down to Lara Soccer Club and Barwon Soccer Club. Everyone benefits from when there's coverage in the paper. It was important that we got that. The EDDY were complaining that people wouldn't click onto their onto soccer articles on their Facebook page, but I kept saying they're not on Facebook. They read the paper. Your soccer people will buy the paper. Everyone will buy the paper in their 70 plus, and it was important that we got that branding through.
And we did, and thanks largely to you. Next year, 2023, obviously we've got the Women's World Cup here. We've got the Men's World Cup in November. It's going to be a big year from international football, but also, look, North Geelong getting the NPL, so even locally there's going to be a lot of high-level football. It's going to be an exciting year, and I'm sure that across the board, the sport's going to really enjoy a major boost. From Corio Soccer Club's perspective, what do you need to do over the next 12 to 18 months maybe to capitalise in this newfound enthusiasm for the sport?
Look, it's important that we get our sponsors on board there in the back there, and thanks, Mick. I've got to give you a big shout out to Scope Australia,
who is a big sponsor of one of our shows as well this year.
But it's important that we get our sponsors back on board, and then we marry that down to our juniors, and then we then create income to be able to improve our senior men's team. So that's the important thing. Hopefully we can cash in on the Women's World Cup. Yeah. Unfortunately, Geelong didn't get the female game down here, but look, I'm sure we can, cash in on that and improve football in Australia, Victoria, and down into Geelong, and hopefully Corio Soccer Club.
Absolutely.
That's the 4 passions in my life.
What's that?
My family, work, the Geelong Footy Club, and Corio Soccer Club. I'm not quite sure in what order, but
that's a good list. It's a good list. Now we've got a special mention to come up. I think from yourself to. Oh yeah, and
just wanted to sort of reiterate that. Bob Stoichevsky is basically been reappointed as coach.
Well, there you go. That's a scoop.
Yes,
we love scoops here on the Geelong show.
Bob had a great result in the second half of the year, and we've been really happy to have him back on board. And Bob's working hard to try and improve the squad, and we will. We're pretty determined, and Bob's a winner. I believe I'm a winner. Mick is certainly a winner, and the rest of the committee and our supporters are winners. So we want to get the top 4, and hopefully, you never know, top 2.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, Bob did a great job with the squad in that second part of the season, and there's a lot to look forward to there next year. What are you looking forward to in the off-season, out of curiosity? Are you going to be still sort of celebrating that flag from the weekend? Are you going to be taking a break?
Oh, no, that was just a relief, the winning the AFL Grand Final. No, I'm going to have a break. I'm going to take my lovely wife to Bali next week. So
there you go.
Yeah, Mari. She's pretty excited. So going to Bali, then we'll go to Queensland November. Then the hard work will start around the middle of November through to the end of September next year.
And speaking of your lovely wife, Mari, she's of Spanish extraction. And with Italy not making it to the World Cup, are your allegiances going to be with Spain at the World Cup this year?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, 100%, definitely.
100%. Viva España.
Viva España. There you go. Mario, on behalf of all of us here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show and behind the scenes, thank you so much for your support, not just this year, but over the last few years as well. And I think I can honestly say on behalf of the Geelong football community, not just what you've done for Geelong, for Corio Soccer Club, but for Galaxy and for the wider football community. And this is an absolutely fantastic facility, and it's a testament to a lot of the hard work you've done behind the scenes. So congratulations and well done, and enjoy that well-deserved break in Bali.
No worries. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Steve, that pretty much brings us to the end of the show, and right on 9 o'clock. It's been a phenomenal journey this year. We're going to mention those sponsors and advertisers one more time because, as the Corio Soccer Club president Mara Gregorio said, it's so important to get to provide that acknowledgement and to get these sponsors back on board. But there's a list of the sponsors and advertisers this year. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the following organisations and businesses.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it for the Elephant and Castle, JH Bookkeeping, the Masters Summer League, the Geelong Country Champs, Manningham Cleaning, Geelong Galaxy United, Anytime Fitness, Eco Dust, Mist Heating and Cooling, Corva Coaching, Surfside Waves, Stuart Grimley MP, Harcourts North Geelong, Scope Australia, the Barwon Soccer Club, Barry Plant Geelong, and Scotsco Skylights. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. We wouldn't be here without those fabulous sponsors, but we wouldn't also be here without the great viewing audience that we have every week at home. We've got Santino front and centre there. Where else would he be on a Monday night? It's a pleasure to have such a great, loyal bunch of supporters, whether it be watching from home every Monday night, watching on replay the following day, whatever it may be. We really, really appreciate it. And, of course, to you, Tonchi, as well, a fantastic job week in, week out, sourcing these guests, putting the show together, building the hype every week. It's a fantastic job that you do. And 100 episodes. Let's have a big hand for Tonchi and the work he's done to make this show what a special publication that it is every week.
Thanks, mate. And to Steve as well. Little do people know he's actually moved to Melbourne, so he still retains that love for the Geelong football community. And tonight you've come all the way from Melbourne, you're going all the way back to Melbourne, as did our on-flow media man who's streaming this, on-flow media, Alex, who's also made the long trek up from Melbourne. Before I forget, Geelong All Sports Trophies as well in North Shore. Big shout out to Brian there, managing to get a trophy very, very last minute for our major sponsor tonight. So thank you very much to Brian at Geelong All Sports Trophies. That's it for 2022, folks. We'll be back early February in 2023 with, we hope, will be a bigger and better Season 5 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Until then, enjoy the break, enjoy the spring, summer months, and come back revitalised as will we for the 2023 season. Cannot wait. Good night, thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Good evening.
At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers at Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club and is also proud to be the major